Hey, have you heard about Z?
ZZ. 𝐊𝐿𝐴
Easy.
Mobile banking. Crazy.
Education loans and salary advances.
Amazing. Introducing the Digital Youth Account. NDBZ. NDBZ from NDB Bank. The future is banking on us.
Creamy richness redefined. Smooth, soft, spreadable. Introducing Ultra Soft Fondue with canola and sunflower oil.
We searched the world for the finest things for you. Things like sun-kissed European berries, rich chocolate from the world's best cocoa fields, and crisp cashews and fluffy marshmallows in a quirky Australian recipe.
𝐿𝐴 experience the world.
හැමදේම අතළඟ තියෙද්දි දුක් විඳින්නේ ඇයි?
Hey, have you heard?
𝐊𝐴
Easy.
Mobile banking. Crazy.
Education loans and salary advances.
Amazing. Introducing the Digital Youth Account. NDBZ. NDBZ from NDB Bank. The future is banking on us.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, from wherever you are watching around the world. This, of course, is the 8th episode of the Rugby Show, brought to you by none other than Quadrangle magazine. Last weekend, we saw the revered Jurassic Park fall silent when the Peterites ran rampant on the royal team in the annual BC Angie fixture. And ever since then, the one question lingering in all our minds is, are Sanath Martis's Peterites unbeatable? On the other hand, we have three teams, the mighty Dons, the undeniable Trinity Lions, and the brave boys from Mount Lavinia, eyeing for this one spot in the Super Round. And we're going to answer this and so many more questions in the next hour or so to come. I think we have the perfect individual with us to answer these questions. He's a man who needs no introduction. Call him the statspert, all the way from New Zealand, Boa Athu. Pleasure to have you with us, Boa. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm going to get to it. Are Sanath Martis's Peterites unbeatable? Over to you, Boa.
Yeah, look, again, thanks for having me on the show. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you may be. Man, the amount of messages I got this week. And I apologize if I couldn't answer everything. I do have other things to do in my life. So, thanks for all those messages. Really feeling the love. Short answer to your question. Right now, on the current form line, I think St. Peter's look more or less unbeatable in this competition. There's still not the finished article, that I have to say as well. I think there's still a lot of improvement for the speed right side, but it's just that back three, the two wingers and the fullback, and particularly their midfield. They're lethal once they get space out wide, and their game plan is really stay and keep pace with them out wide. And last Saturday's demonstration at Jurassic Park, the Ice Age was shattered. 14 years they had to wait, and boy, the game was pretty much over at halftime, because Royal, particularly that sort of 10 to 12 minutes just before halftime, that pretty much cooked their goose. It was great to watch. I absolutely adored and loved the way they attacked. I love attacking rugby from out wide. So to answer your question, I know it was the shortest answer. No, right now I can't see anyone beating St. Peter's. And the scary part, I think, is there's still a lot of improvement in this side, because you saw in that last 9 to 10 minutes, they did fade away, and once Royal, sort of went back into their game and physicality. So I think there's a little bit of work to be done there. And knowing the coach and knowing St. Peter's, they will be listening to every word I say, because we saw how they put pressure, particularly ruckman, which we'll talk about later on. So no, right now on form, I can't see anyone beating St. Peter's. Not yet.
Okay. Well, now last weekend, in the last half, we saw Royal College having a late surge, but it wasn't enough. They did show some spirit towards the latter part of the game. And I think it's fair to say that Royal College will be facing 𝐶𝑃 College in the Super Round. I'm sure there are a lot of things they can take away from this match. What do you think they can improve when they meet 𝐶𝑃 in the Super Round? When and if they meet 𝐶𝑃 in the Super Round?
Simple. First half, and particularly that second quarter in the first half. I think there's a little bit of pattern developing, even in the St. Joseph's game, and also in the Zahira game. For some reason, they just sort of go into this cruise mode, or they fall asleep. Now the thing is, with lesser sides, you can get away with it. You kind of shift the game side to side, and you don't succumb to that pressure. But against the quality sides, you have good finishes. Now, for example, 𝐶𝑃, they've got Zumri at first five. His per individual skill set, you give him a bit of space and you go to sleep, he's going to skin you. He will take an inch and make it look like there's 12 feet. So this is, I think, where Royal needs to really improve on. It's more a mental thing than anything else, because they're very well conditioned. They've got a lot of stamina. Strength and condition is right up there. And you saw how they came back into the game. So it's just that they can't leave things for too late or too long. They've just got to get started properly. And of course, decision making. Some of the decision making around defense was very, very poor, and they paid the price. So yeah, that's what I would do if I was the Royal coach, and I'm pretty sure the Royal coach is listening to me right now. Hey.
Well, you touched on the back three. I believe Pasidhu Bandara, 𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐻 Shihara, and 𝐕𝐴𝐺𝐾 Silva. They are instrumental in the Peterite attack. What do you think Coach Martis is saying to those three boys? I'm sure he knows the importance of them, and they're going into another match this weekend and the Super Round after that. How do you think they can up their game and make sure that Peters goes all the way?
I think more of the same, and I think it's up to their teammates to give them quality position and possession, so that they're given opportunities so that they can finish at every time. It's really nice to see when you have fast running backs put into space, and of course keep these boys grounded. It's very easy to lose focus, particularly at this age grade. I've got a lot of experience, particularly here coaching younger men and watch them develop into premier and representative grade players. So yeah, just more of the same. Just be more accurate as well, and don't fade away. Because keep in mind, and I say this with the greatest of respect to both St. Peter's and Royal, if St. Peter's were an absolute ruthless clinical side, they would have put 60-70 points on that Royal team. Because once you get that sort of momentum going, because you saw how quickly the scoreboard started rattling, and all of a sudden, you're spotting them a 31 points to 3 lead. So I think that's what St. Peter's will be really focusing on, just making sure that they're very clinical. Every single time they get the ball, they get points, preferably 7 points.
Okay. With that, let's take a quick look into when St. Peter's College ran rampant on the boys from Reed Avenue, ending a 14-year streak the Royal College has been very, very, very proud of. St. Peter's College, of course, beating Royal College 31-22 and retaining the BC Angie Cup. Here are the highlights.
The Royal College hosting St. Peter's at the Royal College Sports Complex. Immediately up with the tackle was 𝐊𝐴𝐶𝐴
making that tackle, but unfortunately
𝐿𝐴𝐴. They want to play this game at pace, stepping in field, and that's the first try of 𝐿𝐴𝐴, looking for a willing runner. Here it is. They've got the numbers. Will he pass? Yes, he will. And just not enough defense from Nabil Yahya in the corner. Going behind the gain line. Here's the danger man. Created one try. Can he create another pass into Bandara? Can he go all the way? It looks like he's got 20 meters to make, and the desperate ankle tap is no good. Pasindu Bandara has cut Royal open, not once but twice. Pasindu before he got full speed up. Like on the floor, and here's space now opening up for 𝐊𝐿𝐴𝐴 Chihara, cutting infield, and Nazar once again didn't have a little bit of space, and an inside-out move from 𝗏𝐿𝐴𝐶. That's his 12th try, and the 4th Amana Bank try, and the bonus point Amana Bank try for St. Peter's. There's a big lift from Samarasinghe, and looks like there might be another try for 𝗏𝐿𝐴𝐶 here. It's going all the way around under the posts. Sing back, in fact, it's and it's a try for Patirana, the first Amana Bank try for Royal College. Penalty, so someone may go to the bin soon, and this as Patirana is over for the try. Only for Farooq, he's got to look left. Patirana who scored the first Amana Bank try for Royal is going to score another. Beautifully done by Patirana. Being awarded to Dulaj Navodaya. Let's see whether Royal have it in them to come back storming into this season.
5 tries to 3 in favor of the Peterites.
That's from the annual BC Angie Cup played last weekend. Of course, St. Peter's College going away with the victory, 31 points against 22. And from one unbeaten team, we move to the other. Patana College, the mean green machine. Absolute rain of fire last weekend at Nithawela, 38 points against 8 with St. Anthony's College Kandy. I'm going to talk to you about one individual. Not good to talk about one person, but we're going to do it. We're going to talk about the Isipatana fly half, Shahid Zumri. I think it was in the first 5 minutes or first 6 minutes, he beat 4 defenders to get an absolute cracker of a try. Boa, your thoughts on Shahid Zumri and how he's going to be instrumental to make sure that Isipatana can stop Peters in these next few weeks?
Well, he certainly is a very special individual. Great skill set. He has this gifted ability to step out of tackles, beat players in front of him, and leave them pretty much for dead, chasing shadows. Now, I've been using this term, chasing shadows, a lot. Cut a couple of clips, particularly around what happened in the St. Peter's Royal. And then just before we jump on this, one thing I do have to say is regarding St. Peter's Royal, which we actually couldn't talk about, was, and this stays true with any side who has a lot of pace out wide. You've got to put a lot of line speed in your defense, particularly in the 10, 12, 13 channel. And you got to make sure that the ball doesn't go past the 13 channel. So what actually Royal did, or what they didn't do, is they didn't put enough line speed, and they kind of drifted. As soon as you drift, you got people out wide who have the skill set. It's game over. So I think I'll use that as a segue. Talk about Zumri and the Isipatana backline. It's the same thing. They've got skills out wide. So you want to be able to cut off that ball going past the midfield. As soon as it goes out wide, it means your faster men who have the skill set, who can step, And even if they recycle it and the ball comes back, then you get, players like 𝐿𝐶𝐵𝐵 coming back into the game. So, very special player. The only flip side to this is, when you have high quality individuals like this, you tend to, particularly at this level, psychologically and physically, you tend to focus or over focus a little bit too much. And, there's a lot of pressure. You gotta understand, these are young men or young late teenagers, learning to, they're growing up and learning to be men. So there's always that aspect. So when you have a huge emphasis on this one player, but this guy, he's got the temperament. If I recall right, I think it was a couple of years back, he had a little stint here in New Zealand as well. He came and did some skills work in the Bay of Plenty. So he's really taken the time and effort, and he's obviously very dedicated to his craft. Special player, big game players. So hopefully, with the Super Round coming up, I think the 𝐶𝐶 fans will be really wanting him to step up and deliver some big-time match-winning performances.
Yes, so now we know when there's a winner, there has to be a loser. And unfortunately, St. Anthony's College Kandy has been on the receiving end of that. 6 back-to-back losses. I'm sure this is not how they wanted their season to go. They have one more chance against �ශ්‍රී another hill country derby, if you will. They will be facing �ශ්‍රී this weekend at 𝐊𝐿𝐴. How do you think that St. Anthony's can make sure that they don't go home without a win this season?
Yeah, look, this is St. Anthony's opportunity to get a win because they'll fancy their chances. They're playing a lower ranked side. But at the same time, and I'm a little bit sentimental when it comes to Sumba because I have a lot of time for these kids and I've watched their journey from when they were in the B division, how they've come to the A division. So they'll want to make this game a bit of a banana skin or a bit of a hoodoo game for St. Anthony's. And the way St. Anthony's are playing, they've got a little bit of work to do as well. So they've got to be very, very careful, stick to the basics, and be very consistent with what they do. The problem with St. Anthony's this year is they're very, very inconsistent. They'll play really good for 2 to 3 minutes, and then they switch off. And they switch off for a period of time, and they lose that period so badly, like what happened in the 𝐶𝐶 game. There's no coming back. So I think Sumangala will do a little bit of homework in this area, and they'll just go for broke because it's a hometown derby. And they will genuinely feel that St. Anthony's are feeling a little vulnerable. And stranger things have happened. On paper, St. Anthony should go and quite, easily win this because they've got that A division experience. But the way their form line has drifted and dropped to an alarming level, and I know for the Anthony's fans and their faithful, this will be very hard to listen to and very hard to. It's a very bitter pill to swallow when this sort of thing happens. But you've got to try and get back on the horse and stick to your basics. Take the points. All you need to do is win this game. You win by 1 or win by 100. The win's a win. And I think for St. Anthony's, it's really important to them. But it's the same thing for Sumangala as well. So it's going to be an interesting game. It is going to have periods of play, which is going to be a lot closer and tougher than most people think.
Okay. Let's take a quick look at the highlights last weekend from 𝐁𝐻. 𝐶𝐶 College beating St. Anthony's College 38-8. These are the highlights.
Taking on 𝐶𝐶 College.
Getting close to that 5-meter line. Here's 𝐿𝐶𝐵𝐵 tries to sell a dummy. Evades 2, 3 and 4 defenders from St. Anthony's College.
Away in this game as Shahid Zumri.
Last few phases. Here's Silva. Gives it to 𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐵𝐿𝐴 to hit 𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐵𝐿𝐴. Gives it to 𝐿𝐶𝐵𝐵 to 𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐵𝐿𝐴 sells a dummy and goes over for the second Namana bank try of the game.
Goes past 1 and he offloads it. Wonderful collection from the 𝐶𝐶 number 7 𝐁𝐻, and he goes over. This time his line out throw falls straight into the hands. St. Anthony's forms that rolling maul. They are still with possession. It seems like 𝐷𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐵𝐿𝐴 has the ball. Can 𝐷𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐵𝐿𝐴 go over? Yes, he does. Yes, he does. This is exactly what St. Anthony's wanted. to score yet another try and put this game to bed, and that's exactly what they do. It's their number 8 and they are
with position. Here's 𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗔 to Aziz. Here's Aziz, he breaks away. It's actually Nimantha Sandeep needed to give the pass out, but he actually manages to withstand that tackle.
Here's Shahid Zumri this time. His kick goes through.
Here's Isipadana. Bomet didn't give the ball out, trying to go by himself. Getting some good meters there. Now here's the number 16 for Isipadana, and he goes over quite easily.
Final kick of the game, and he manages to put the ball through.
Registering a 38 points to 8 victory. The key stats: player of the match, NDB Bank player of the match, Shahid Zumri.
Those were the highlights for when Isipadana College beat St. Anthony's College 38-8. Now, before we move on to the next match, we have a question on our Facebook Live. This question coming from Lahiru Chandraratna. What do you think would have happened if Royal did not allow 𝐕𝐴𝐴𝐻𝐿 to score the first try in the second half? Do you think there would be a big difference if they did disallow that try?
Great question. Absolutely, no question, because straight after the halftime break, because that's a significant shift in momentum. Before and after halftime, that 5 minutes prior and after is very, very crucial, because you got to start well, you got to end well in the first half, and you got to start well. And I think St. Peter's basically blitzed Royal for that last quarter, particularly last 5 minutes in the first half, and they continued that momentum. And particularly with that try on the left-hand corner, 𝐕𝐴𝐴𝐻𝐿 ran as if there was no defense. He just basically ran through Royal. So I think psychologically that would have been a significant blow. So had he been tackled and put into touch, which, more often than not Royal would have done, that would have had a significant difference. And that's 7 points. And end of the day, Royal, got close, relatively close. But I think by that time they were well beaten on the scoreboard. And it just goes to show, when you're rattled, this is what happens at this level. It takes exceptional mental strength and exceptional focus to get back into the game. So had he not scored, I think the game would have been a lot more interesting. I'm not necessarily saying that, there would have been a change in result. I think that would be very unlikely. I think St. Peter's, Royal were well beaten, no question about that. But that momentum shift was really, really key. So for me, the two key points, just before and after halftime, that is really, really crucial. And of course, the psychological impact when you have a player that influential running right around with no resistance, I think there's 3 or 4 missed tackles. That was quite significant. So hopefully, Lairu, thank you for asking. That's my answer.
So, if you have any more questions, please do drop it either in our Facebook Live or on the YouTube, and we will make sure that our statspert, Boa Athu, gives you the answer you're looking for. Now, we move on to another team, another match. St. Joseph's College versus Kingswood College, Kandy. St. Joseph's College seem to have found their groove. It might be a bit too late to make it a super round, but definitely they have found their groove and they're playing the rugby that they're used to. Ivano White played an absolutely superb match. Him and 𝐵𝐴𝐵𝐴𝐻𝐿 𝐊𝐴𝐴𝐻𝐿 had a phenomenal match last weekend. The score at 70 minutes was 55-5. Boa, St. Joseph's College, what are your thoughts on how they are playing so far?
Yeah, 5 for 55. I did watch the last bit of that game, and boy, Ivano White, the fairest of names at the fairest of games. Outstanding work by this young man. Absolutely love watching him play. And I think, St. Joseph's, they're playing to their strengths. They've got big forwards. They're carrying right through the middle, bending the opposition line, and then just looking to shift it out wide. It's really simple. There's no rocket science to it. And with teams like St. Joseph's, what they need to do is do this a lot more consistently without giving up easy turnovers. I think in that first half of the season, fitness and conditioning had a lot to do with this. They were coughing up the ball. They just didn't hang on to the ball long enough. Now, Kingswood, fair game to them. I think they were pretty much the whipping boys for this game. And, St. Joseph's, again, they can only play what's in front of them. So great result for them. Not so great for Kingswood. And, it was another 50-point hammering, unfortunately. But as far as St. Joseph's go, they'll be building a lot more confidence. They'll be wanting to get stuck into it. It's just a bit of a shame that they probably won't have a bigger say in the Super Round because of the format. But no, good win for them. And tough road back to Kandy for our friends Kingswood.
Yes. Now, let's take a look at the highlights when a rejuvenated St. Joseph's College outfit took on Kingswood College and won 55-5. These are the highlights.
St. Joseph's College will have their work cut out as they take on Kingswood for a mid-table battle here at Havelock Park. Position fullback, but the referee says that he was taken out late. But here goes Bhishma, gives it out to Senithuaran, and by the looks of it, that's the first try. Number 8 breaks, and it was 𝐊𝐵𝐵𝐴, and by the looks of it, 𝐊𝐵𝐵𝐴 goes straight through play, collects it and throws a Hail Mary pass there, but well collected as St. Joseph's College through their wing, and he puts a lovely step by the looks of it. That's 𝐁𝐚𝐴𝐧𝐝 and gets the pass away. Here goes Bhishma, gives it out to 𝐤𝐞𝐞𝐿, and he'll pretty much have a run-on try. Iran gives it out to Mindulkar. In fact, Malinda, but he's brought down by a good defense by St. Joseph's College. Here goes the big lock forward Pushpa Kumar. Kingswood College just a couple of meters short, and the referee blows time off, consults his AR, and now the first yellow card of this second half goes to the St. Joseph's College flank. Calling his forwards to the fore as here goes go. Numbers on the outside, they get it away to that's to the back line. They go, dropped short as quite a high tackle comes in, and the referee switches time off. Jan in the number 24 takes a break, and he goes straight
game. So referee Aruna Santa will let that go, and 𝐊𝐵𝐵𝐴 looks like he wants a second as well, and he gets it.
9 tries, 5 conversions in reply to the visitors' single try.
There you go. Those are the highlights from when St. Joseph's College beat Kingswood College Kandy 55-5. We have another question on our Facebook Live. Ramesh Silva asks, what is your opinion on the Isipatana College forwards versus the St. Peter's College forwards?
Yeah, look, for Isipatana to win the forwards battle or the collision, they have to win the shoulder battle. So what that means is when you go into contact, let's say, for example, St. Peter's are the ball carriers and Isipatana are defending, the forwards need to ensure that their shoulders are nice and low so that they get into that stomach, tummy, waistline level and engage, get into a better body position. I think we saw that a little bit in the Royal game. In some instances where the Royal forwards got into the collision, they were a little bit high and upright. And St. Peter's, won the collision in most of those areas by getting simply into a better body position. So for Isipatana, it's going to be really, really key. Same thing once you carry into St. Peter's, because St. Peter's do have some bigger, burly forwards. They're quite mobile. And also they're quite skilled. They're very good on the passing. I saw particularly one turnover of a ruck. I think it was one of the big lock forwards. They threw a wide cutout pass straight to Vishenka, and he was away. So really important that they do that. As far as so far what I'm seeing, I think the Isipatana forwards are getting better. But again, St. Peter's right now are the benchmark for this competition. So without actually testing themselves, now I know they had a bit of a test against DS. And in patches they came off really well. Probably the last bit the last bit of the game where they actually fought back and won, scoring that last try. But I think playing St. Peter is going to be a very different beast altogether. So, yeah, if 𝐕𝐶𝐃 bring their A game, no question, I think they'll match them pound for pound. But if they don't, it could probably be another repeat of the Royal game. So I think there's a bit of unknown, to be fair. So I'll reserve my judgment, and we'll all find out once they play each other. So hopefully that gives you some direction. But you got to win that shoulder battle. You got to get nice and low, and get into a good position where you can drive them over. That's the only advice I can give.
There you go. You ask and you shall receive. So if you have any more questions, please do drop it in the Facebook Live or on our YouTube chat. Now, we have another rain of tries that happened last week. DS Senanayaka taking on Summa Rugby. DS managed to score 12 tries. 76-10 was the score at the end of playtime. DS backs outpaced the Summa defense, scoring 3 tries in the opening 20 minutes. Now, DS Senanayaka stands 4th on the results and has 24 points. What do you think, Boa, that DS Senanayaka can do this weekend to make sure that they cement their place in the Super Round?
Yeah, outstanding team. I think lots of potential, lots of talent. Again, consistency, because they dropped a couple of crucial games, particularly after the break to St. Thomas's. That was a bit unexpected, but that's experience versus inexperience. When you're relatively new to the A division, you have that break, you kind of move away from the basics. And against, of course, the Green Machine, absolute heartbreak. They had the game in the palms, in their hands, and they just dropped it because 𝐕𝐶𝐃 really fought back. So they'll be ruining those missed opportunities. But obviously against Summa, I didn't actually expect such an avalanche of tries. I thought actually Summa will put up a much better fight, but it's just that these DS backs, particularly their backs, are lethal finishers. I saw a couple of really nice tries where there's a few intercepts as well. So that tells me they're reading the game well. So as far as DS goes, they just got to keep doing their thing, getting as many points as they can, winning handsomely, building more confidence. And I think as far as they're concerned, making it to the Super Round, they need a few results to go their way as well. So all they can do is control what they can control, and that is to score as many points and win with bonus points.
Yes, so we have the highlights for when the Dons took on Sri Sumangala. The final score 76-10. We'll take a look at the highlights. And on the other hand, we'll have my good buddy, Iran Bazir, with the rest of the matches played last weekend. These are the highlights.
Senanayaka College hosting Sri Sumangala.
That's Janidu Vijayaratna, and it's Amana Bank try number 1, unfortunately. And there's 2 more points on the board for DS Senanayaka College.
Now centre Malit takes it up into contact. Numbers on the outside. Here's the fullback Shabir putting on some footwork, and by the looks of it, that's the second Amana Bank try for
board. And they do.
And he does so. Here goes the DS Senanayaka College forwards, and by the looks of that, that's 𝐊𝐶𝐿𝐴 he goes over for the third Amana Bank try.
He's made a brilliant case for himself, and it's 3 out of 3. Number 8 passes it on to scrum half. That's number 15. High steps it. That's Mohammad Sabir. Puts on the starter steppers. A more high gear passage of play. Number 10 takes the penalty. Taps it back. Makes a ton of headway and goes back for a game of attrition there. Again, just inching past that 22.
And by the looks of it, that's the first Amana Bank try for Sri Sumangala, scored by Rajaguru in the number 4 jumper.
It wasn't so much the Senanayaka's complacency, but rather the sheer route Number 8 breaks off. Number 4. That's the left lock. 𝐊𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐵𝐴𝐺𝐬 𝐊𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐵𝐴𝐺𝐬. Just inches away from the try line. Forwards together. Number 7 making a run for it. Comes back. And this time he bounces back from his earlier failure. Chamit Samarasinghe egging them on. Will the boys get to it? Again, working that line there. That's the fullback, Mohammad Sabir.
𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐻 hot on attack. Here goes their big forwards. Just a couple of meters out as the referee's arm comes out for an advantage. DSA Nanayaka College, will they manage to barge their way over? By the looks of it, they do so. Cutting back is Praveen Lakmal. He's just a couple of meters short of the try line. And now a penalty advantage comes. And the referee says that they will go back for the penalty. And here's a try. Now to the line they go. Here goes Bandara, step in and weaving his way through. And he goes over for yet another Amana Bank try.
It's a long letter right back home for Sri Sumangala College as DSA Nanayaka. And it's a successful penalty. Here are the key stats from the encounter between DSA Nanayaka College and Sri Sumangala College. Kandy, 12 tries to 1.
Was the highlights of DSA Nanayaka College taking on Sri Sumangala at Havelock Park, 76 points for 10. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode of the Rugby Show. My name is Tanan Bazir, and I'll be taking over the remaining 4 matches that happened last week. I mean, intense game of rugby last week. Boa, nice to see you too. Welcome back.
Always good to see you, Buzz. And look, just a quick shout out to our sponsors: No Limit, Fondry, NDB Bank, Elephant House, and Keel's Crest. You know, we are very grateful for your ongoing support, and it is thanks to these sponsors we can bring these, this type of show, this quality of content. And of course, our good friends at the papre.com for allowing us to use their footage, because without Papre, what could we do? We love you, Papre. Lots of love, lots of hugs. But now, good to see you, Buzz. Always a pleasure.
Indeed, bro, indeed. Yes, big shout out to Dialogue as well and the papre.com for allowing us to use the highlight videos, as well as the sponsors that Boa mentioned in order to make this show a success. Thank you very much, guys, and a big shout out. Well, we'll move on for a match that happened last week at St. Thomas's grounds. St. Thomas's taking on the Rajans. 46 points for 12. Before we go on further, let's just pause for a brief second for the highlights. Don't go anywhere.
It's St. Thomas's taking on Dharmaraja College. Sideways, once says the referee. They bring it out. Charged down by St. Thomas's. They have the ball. 𝐶𝐁𝐶𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐵𝐴𝐺𝐬 takes it. And it will be the first try. 𝐶𝐁𝐶𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐵𝐴𝐺𝐬. Pass it to the line, and that's the try. Thomian forwards. Now getting into the act. Is it a try? Alum Sandaruwan awards the try. Vikramasuriya looking to find Bulat Singalage. The gap opens up and the skipper scores. Here's Vanika Surya with the collection. The Thomians set up the maul once again. Driving the Rajan forwards back. Referee says once. They bring it forward once again. On the other side comes St. Thomas's and the try. Inside as Bulat Singalage kicks it into empty space. Is it a 50-22? And a try on the other end. Have they won the ball back? Yes, they have. And on the blind side, once again, the Thomians. Dharmaraja going nowhere, but now they have the space on the left. And will they score the first try? They will. Second try rather. An Amana Bank try.
Like a knife going through butter. And the conversion is good.
Take the tap quickly. They need this try. Have they scored? Yes, they have. St. Thomas's have scored the try through Dehan Senaratna. Vote goes to 𝐕𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐴𝐴. How about yours? Stats 46-12, 7 tries, 4 conversions, and 1 penalty for St. Thomas's, and 2 tries, 1 conversion.
Highlights of St. Thomas College and Dharmaraja. St. Thomas is hosting the game. Boy, what a score, boy. I mean, 46 points to 12. I mean, the Dharmarajans, the Rajans were literally in a Humpty Dumpty situation. Fallen down, cracked pieces, couldn't be put back together again. After that impressive win against Science College last week, boy, your thoughts? I mean,
I'm impressed. I'm very impressed with St. Thomas's, how they've actually built up. And they've sort of been like the forgotten team, haven't they? They've been putting all these performances together. And just looking at the highlights, looking at their game plan, it's really simple. They got their big ball carriers hitting the midfield, bending the line, making good net gain, plus meters. And then they put those phases together, and they're keeping passes nice and short and understanding where the space is. And they're being patient. I think that's what gets them the results. They've understood that, good things take a little bit of time, and good things comes to those who are patient. And they're putting these phases together. And, 7 tries. I mean, Dharmaraja is not a side who by any stretch of the means should be getting pumped by 7 tries. So I think this is a really interesting form line we're starting to see emerge from St. Thomas's. And in their own sort of covert guerrilla way, they're putting their hand up. So I think St. Thomas's here are starting to emerge as a real contender to probably have a crack at one of those 2 spots to qualify for the Super Round. As far as the Rajans go, they'll be very disappointed because they were building a very nice form line themselves. But all of a sudden, they come to Mount Lavinia. Maybe it was the stiff sea breeze. Maybe it was the sound of those rail, the rail compartments smashing against the tracks. Maybe that. The train. Yeah, the train compartment. That's right. Thank you for reminding me. Trains go on rail tracks. They just couldn't get themselves into the game. So well done, St. Thomas's. I think you're starting to show your hand, albeit bit by bit, slightly later in the season. But I just feel they're putting this run, or their home run, they're coming home quite strongly with a bit of a wet sail. How ironic, right next to the beach.
I know, indeed. Yeah, it's. I mean, couldn't be an excuse where the amidst of the railway track sounds and trains going here and there. I don't think the Rajans could have that issue. But then, yeah, congrats to St. Thomas's. I mean, really, epic game. As you said, Boa, they were hiding from this league. I mean, we didn't take any notice of it. But after this match, St. Thomas's were actually the highlight of last week. I mean, they have now set up their colors flying high so that for other schools and other teams, and especially the audience watching right now, they're like that. They're saying, "Hey, we are here as well. Do not underestimate us." Basically,
Buzz. To me, sorry to interrupt. I think it's just that they were the team who actually benefited the most from that break. If you recall, with that whole incident around the science game, the referees not wanting to officiate, they really reflected upon where their work-ons are, and they've really put the work. And clearly, I did mention about 4 weeks ago on the show that St. Thomas's really need to get their big ball carriers into the game, penetrate the midfield, and then stay patient. So just looking at their footage, that's exactly what they're doing.
That's what they did. Yeah. Exactly. That's what they did, boy. Indeed, indeed. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. That week of the break that we got, I think St. Thomas had some kind of like you said, a big break which they need to focus on basically all techniques and skills, and especially your point being the ball carriers that really put into play for the last match against Dharmraj. I was actually there as well, Boa. Yes, impressive rugby. Congrats, St. Thomas. But the Rajans, I wish you all the best for next week's games. Moving on, we have Zahira College taking on Thurston at Zahira Grounds, 28 points to 13. Let's just have a quick peek at the highlights. Then, Boa, I'll give it back to you.
I bring you live pictures from Zahira College, Colombo, as they host Thurston College. Call is number 10 is offside, Ishan Noor. They have found certainly some energy, some pattern, some rhythm into their attacking style of rugby. And the penalty is through. That's the first points coming from the jersey number 22. I think in fact they went to the lead last week against Vidyarth, but the kick is good. That's a beautiful conversion. 5 meter mark. Another pick can go. They're inching towards the Amana Bank try. And it is the first Amana Bank try for Zahira College. Here's Basit with the conversion, and the kick is absolute peach. Down. Still inches short, and that's the Amana Bank try. And here's the conversion. That's a beautiful conversion as well. Who scored the first Amana Bank try? Ahmad. And Ahmad, can he score the second try? And that's the try time. Hansa Indramal, the scrum half. Oh no, that's a try time. Kunchi, that kick straight away into his bread basket, and he scored the Amana Bank try. Right, the conversion is flat, but it gets 2 points. So, yeah, 28 points to 13. Zahira gets the 4 try bonus point.
There you have it. Zahira College taking on Thurston College. The Tankers taking on Thurston Rugby at Zahira Grounds with a score of 28 points to 13. Zahira's win. An epic match, I would say, Boa. What do you think?
A great game, and big ups and respect to Thurston. I think they are getting immensely better. The improvements are very visible, very obvious. And, just before halftime, I thought, look, I think we're in for a bit of an upset. Thurston have, finally understood how they need to play to their strengths. But, this is the difference when you play in the A division, and Zahira obviously have been playing in the A division, and they've just got more experience and they know how to finish things. So it was a bit of a tricky affair for them. They won't be satisfied by any stretch of the imagination as far as how they played. But again, they had to dig deep and they got tested. So that's a really good thing. And that'll be one of the positives I would take from this game. As far as Thurston goes, kudos to you. Congrats. You're putting up showing some resistance. You're showing some character. You're showing some heart. And that's what it's all about. And your learning curve has kind of plateaued a little bit, which is good because it means that you're not making as many mistakes as you are. And it's just about putting consistent 70 minutes together. So I think it's probably a bit unrealistic as well to expect them to be able to do this with some of the top tier sides. But it's been a hard season for them, and I can't help but feel a little bit of sympathy for Thurston. So hopefully getting a victory is not too far away for them, and that might happen next week, as early as next week. As far as Zahira goes, I think they'll be more relieved than anything else. So there you go.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, indeed. Congrats to Zahira College for that win. But well done to Thurston College for an epic fight back. I believe, Boa, by next season, I think Thurston will be ready to fight back as well as Sri Sumangala College. I think those two teams have probably learned something by playing Division A rugby. I believe they've learned something. I mean, all the best for them for next week's games. But I think by next season, they'll probably put on a good show and kind of surprise you, Boa. All right, then. Next up.
I think they just Buzz, I
Yeah.
think they sort of jump in, buddy. I think they just need a little bit more physicality, so that they can stay pace with some of the top teams. It's just that, just trying to play that expensive game and not earn the right to go forward will only get you so far. And against the top teams who have more experience, once they bring the physicality in, then it's just pretty much game over. So Thurston, if you're listening, this is an area you need to address, and it may not necessarily happen overnight. It might take a little bit longer, but obviously, they've got some very good people running the sport, administering the sport at Thurston. It's just a matter of coming up with a plan and then developing your own talent through the age grades. Of course, there's another way around this. I'm not going to recommend or suggest that. We all know what that is. But yeah, that's the way I see things going. And yeah, well done, Thurston. So keep going.
Exactly. I agree with you, boy. I agree with you. Next match is, well, it's kind of a sad match, to be honest. Trinity taking on Science. I'm sorry, Science taking on Trinity College at Sugata Stadium. Before we go into the scores, let's just have a quick peek at the highlights.
Where Science College hosts Trinity College Candy.
Luckily for Trinity, Raizan is there to save it. Anwas 𝐷𝐿𝐴 shoves two men. It goes on to score. Trinity opting to attack the fringes and gets the try. How it has gone for him so far. And this time around, Altaf pierces goalpost. 𝐊𝐿𝐴 to 𝐷𝐿𝐴. 𝐷𝐿𝐴 gives to 𝗏𝐿𝐴 will score the third Amana Bank try for Trinity College. This time around, lovely curving kick. It's the ball available. Now the forwards will have to do a lot of work inside the try line, and that's scored.
And just like that, Shan Altaf interception, running all the way across the park. Altaf getting his name on the try scoring board, and he goes under the post.
36 points to Trinity with the victory. 6 Amana Bank try victory for Trinity College.
There you have it. Science College taking on Trinity at Sugata Stadium. Trinity win the game 36 points to 0. Dear God, Science have not been listening to you, Boa, after all, haven't they?
Look, I don't want to be too critical on Science because they've been doing it tough for the last few weeks, and I think they ran against a very confident Trinity side. And just looking at what Trinity did, they read the play really well. They read what was in front of them and they played what was in front of them. And also, Buzz, what I have to say is there's something really nostalgic and something really cool about watching a Trinity team play at Sukadadasa Stadium. I think for me, I feel that whenever they come to Colombo and play at Suga, they just something about it, something about that venue. So to score 36, to cross the try line 6 times against a team of the caliber of Science, I think that was outstanding. And again, this shows that Trinity, that yo-yo form line, they just when they're hot, they're really hot, and that has a lot to do with confidence. And if you look at their body language, they're very confident. And they played like lions. They played like lions. So much like St. Thomas's, I think they're just starting to put their hand up and actually understand. Let's play what's in front of us, and let's play to the conditions. Let's understand what we're good at, and particularly with those intercepts, they've obviously done their homework. So these are all really good signs for Trinity. And I know Trinity haven't won a league since that incredible side back in 1987. I don't know whether you were around back then, but I vividly recall watching that 1987 side led by 𝐻𝐿 Rajapaksa. Had some outstanding players. They're a great goal kicker, a good buddy of mine. His name is Shah Dole. Shah lives all the way up in USA. Incredible side that was. So, if they can build on this, I'm not suggesting that they'll go on to win the league this year, but what I am saying is these are all good signs for them, and maybe this is, a little bit of a renaissance. Who knows? Who knows?
Indeed. Yeah, Trinity College had a rocky start in the beginning of this league, but now by listening to you, Bo, and by analyzing, I mean, Trinity is basically playing smart right now. It's basically smart rugby as well as the yo-yo formation, but I feel like they're playing smart right now. They're like you said, analyzing the situations, the players, the conditions of the grounds, and everything. Whereas for Science, I mean, I'm deeply upset about their performance last game. I mean, it's being 0 throughout 70 minutes of the game is kind of a disappointment right there. But I hope Science learns and get the experience from this. I mean, even though they're A-Division rugby, it's all about learning. It's a learning curve. School boys, it's all about learning. So I hope they learn in the upcoming match next week. Any more thoughts to say, Boa?
Yeah, look, tough for Science, and like I said, I know how difficult these guys do it, so I don't want to be too critical about them. And I'm blown away at how competitive they are with the very little they have. But as far as analysis and understanding things, what lies in front, as far as Trinity goes, look, they've got all the toys and tools. Even professional teams don't have, i.e. the drones, and so they have to use it to their advantage. Like for example, I've been pretty much coaching all my adult life here in Auckland, and it was only the last sort of 2 to 3 years I got access to using drone footage and analysis software of that nature. So Trinity, you have a huge advantage. Who knows? They might be flying their drones every time Royal play next. There you go. There's a conspiracy theory now. Everyone will start jumping up and down and pointing fingers at me. I was just sharing a bit of a joke. So it's great. I hope all these tools of analysis eventually, because the big prize for Trinity College is always the Rugby Shield. It's a shield. So who knows? Maybe they're building up for this, and they've got a surprise for all of us.
I think that will be sort of like an epic game, just like how Royal took on St. Peter's. That will be another game to surprise you, Boa. Trinity and Royal College Rugby Shield. Science College, wishing you all the very best. I hope you all will do better next season. Otherwise, let's try to see if the next week you all can do something about this. Before we move on, shall we have the highlights of the next game, which took place at 𝐊𝐿𝐴 Stadium? Another match that, Boa, you were waiting for, with the other college taking on Wesley College. Let's hold on for thoughts, Boa. Let's have the quick highlights, and we'll be right back.
It's a crunch game here. Vidyartha College hosting the visitors from Colombo, Wesley College.
Get a yellow card. They were offside, continuous offside, and Vidyartha College showing real intent to go big and go big guns
as well. And here's Rusita Modia's kick, chase down, will that be? And Abdul Hadi's kick goes through. Here's the Vidyartha number 16, lovely offload, they are coming from him. Ashinta Kulatunga brought down, and here's Vidyartha.
The ball go. A lot of handling errors earlier. And he strikes it.
Wesley
needs to give it out, Kevin.
That's exactly what he does.
And goes reckless. He was very confident in going in for that show and go and orchestrate a dance.
Rusita Modia. Wonderful show and go from Aditya Ranavira. Ranavira goes over. And here's Rusita Modia adding 2 more points. They opt to go on to the sides. Here's Hadi. Hadi on his own goes. Opportunity for Hadi to add 2 more points, and that's it.
Off a feed in from Senura Piris. And under the post, penalty coming for the Double Blues.
Abdul Hadi under all sorts of pressure makes chasing the game. I believe Vidyartha should opt to go for post. Just still 20 more minutes to be played in the game. As a referee Gihan Yatavar, highest point scorers for Vidyartha this season, of the post adds 3 more points. But it doesn't seem to go their way, as Wesley will go over to score another.
Here's the final score breakdown. Vidyartha College, the Tigers, putting on a great show in the first half, leading 17 points to 14.
Well, that was the highlights that happened last Sunday, the final match last week. Vidyartha College taking on 𝗥𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐝 College at 𝗤𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐝 Stadium. I just want to give another shout out and a big thank you to 𝗵𝗵.com as well as Dialogue for allowing us to use their highlight videos in order to make this show a success. And wishing all the best for all the teams that are playing next week, right? Boa, 𝗥𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐝 College beating the Tigers, the Double Blues, winning by 34 points to 20. Your thoughts? I knew you were actually rooting for Vidyartha after last week's hot seat. I can tell you by your face right now. Give me your thoughts, Boa. Over to you.
Yeah, well, I was. My prediction was that Vidyartha was going to win. I wasn't necessarily rooting. Look, it was an incredible game. I actually, you know what? I thoroughly enjoyed the game. Just the way how Wesley fought back in to the game, and that particular last 10 minutes. You know, they won the collisions. They won all those key moments, and they showed a lot of character. I thought there was a lot of character. Vidyartha, on the other hand, they were very, very adventurous. It's just that their finishing and ball handling let them down at really crucial points of time, and they turned the ball over. You know, and then they infringed, giving Wesley the opportunity. And what did Wesley do? They took the points. They kicked goals. They built scoreboard pressure. They managed the clock. And abracadabra, they won the game. You know, and special mention, Abdullah Hardy, their fullback, and he's got a name of a match winner. And the way he came into that game, the last 10, 15 minutes, outstanding stuff. And for the Double Blues to go to 𝗤𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐝 and do that, I think that was outstanding. As far as Vidyartha go, yeah, they'll be bitterly disappointed, because they would have really targeted this game. They would have wanted to have won this game, get some momentum, and prepare for what is arguably their toughest test, most sternest test next weekend at 𝗤𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐝 against a red hot or white hot favorite St. Peter's. So I think they'll be smarting a bit, and they've got a little bit of work to do. But look, it was a great game. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I have to say, there's a couple of instances. You know, they look more reckless than anything else. A couple of dangerous challenges following through. So I think, again, you know, guys and girls, as far as this whole foul play thing is concerned, coaches and schools, just, you know, sort this out in-house. I know players are very adventurous out there, and they want to do their best for the teams, but it's a fine line between being very aggressive and then crossing on to the wrong side of it. So, and we don't want players getting injured, because I had a number of messages about a couple of incidents. So without you know, sort of jumping in too much into it and becoming too critical, keeping in perspective that these are schoolboys, you know, everyone's just got to understand that, you know, there's a fine line between really being aggressive and being reckless. But apart from that, outstanding game. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed the crowd at 𝗤𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐝 as well. You know, once the crowd gets into it. And well done to Wesley, the Double Blue. There you go.
Indeed, yeah, exactly. So an energetic game. I was actually there physically, so I could really feel the energy of both from the West side and the Vidyartha spectators. Even though Vidyartha had the most spectators right there, you could feel that after the match, how it just all died down after that winning streak of the Double Blues. Like, you could hear the Vidyartha fans and the players just, you know, hush, thin drop signs of the Wesley Double Blue fans just took over the screaming, and the Zam Zam Zaki is everywhere. From time to time, you could hear those. Actually, I met the captain, skipper of Vidyartha, 𝗤𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐝 afterwards, and I spoke to him, and I said, best of luck for next week's matches. I know he fell down, but I just cheered him up from then. And yeah, I mean, next week is going to be a tough.
But yeah. That's great, and I think that's a valid point you touch on. I think, you know, for everyone watching this show, one of the things I'd really encourage, and what I'd want you to do as individuals and supporters of the game is, you know, encourage and support these schoolboys. Understand that these are schoolboys, that late teens, trying to find their feet in this world, and eventually they'll grow up to be, hopefully, outstanding citizens of this world and strong young men. So please encourage them as much as you can. Sometimes just on the online forum, I mean, I don't read every comment, but whenever I can, I see some of these comments, where they're sort of talking about these schoolboys, and sometimes in a very dim light. And all I ask of you is, I'm not trying to tell you what to say or what to do or curtail your freedom of speech, but what I would like to see if I was you is I'd encourage these young men, speak in a positive way. There's always two sides to the coin, what do they, what are the good things they do and what are their work-ons. So try and be encouraging of these young kids, regardless of whether they're from the school you've been to or the school you support or not. And as far as criticisms go, try and do it in a constructive way. Be direct by all means, but please don't resort to name calling and derogatory terms. It's not right, because we're dealing with children, and these children with social media, they read these comments. So it's really important that we try and create a culture which is encouraging as opposed to being negative and trying to put people down. So I just thought I'd get that in, Buzz.
No worries, bro. You're actually right. You're absolutely right. These are school children, young boys. I mean, I was a player as well, so I would understand the positives and the negatives of each and everyone's comments. I would take it a different way, as well as the players who are playing right now. So it's always good to congratulate or to wish the team who lost best of luck for the upcoming matches. It gets them back in the mood to practice even harder, rather than feeling down and feeling bad for themselves. Yeah, I mean, it was an epic week of rugby, I would say. Last week's games, solid games, and I want to wish all the teams the best of luck for next week's games. And to talk about next week's games, I would like to call Sherwin back, talk about the next 4 matches happening. Sherwin, back to you, buddy.
Thanks, Tehran. So that's it for the matches of week 7. With that, we move on to the final week of the normal round before we enter the super round. These are, of course, the matches that couldn't be played with the little hiatus that happened in the middle of the season. So, cracking on, I think the match that I really want to talk about personally, Trinity College taking on 𝐷𝗏𝗏 College. This is a must-win for Trinity College if they have any hope of making it to the super round. Now, we all know what happened last year. Opener for both these teams, 𝐷𝗏𝗏 College beating Trinity College for the first time in their history. Boa, what do you think is going to happen this Saturday?
Great stat you pulled up. In fact, I've written it down in my notepad as well. Look, on paper, Trinity should walk this home, right? But we've seen stranger things happen. And Rajans would be smarting from that a little bit of touch-up they got in Mount Lavinia, and they'll want to come right back into it. So given that it's a hometown derby as well, I think they'll be up for it. And this Rajan side, they're well coached. Former peer, one of the contemporaries I played against, 𝐊𝐿𝐿𝐿, he coaches them. Is very smart operator. As far as Trinity goes, they've got to keep that form line going. They would have learned very well from the science game. So on paper, Trinity should walk this home, but to me, there is a level of unpredictability this Rajan side brings in. And if they get that go forward, that physicality, and they start contesting the breakdown, I think this is going to be one heck of an interesting afternoon in Kandy.
Yes, another match I think that all of us are looking forward to are the newly rejuvenated St. Joseph's College taking on Wesley College. I think this is going to be a very, very interesting and might be a very close match. One of the matches I'm sure, Boa, you will be looking forward to. Who do you think has the edge going into this match, and what do you think that we can see this weekend?
No question. I think this might be the game. This might end up being the game of the round. Joes will be very confident. they're starting to hit their straps. They're being very consistent with their rugby cycle, putting phases together. Wesley, on the other hand, they'll be really buoyed going up to Kandy, to 𝐤𝐿𝐴, getting a win, coming back. I saw a little clip of their coach Henry. He was saying, coming up to Kandy and winning this, it was really special, and the boys put a 200% effort. So I think they'll get better from here as well. So it's going to be a very interesting game. For me, yeah, genuinely difficult to call this one. I think Wesley will want to pull a bit of a surprise, but let's wait and see how things transpire.
Another match happening this Saturday is Thurston College taking on Royal College. I'm sure Royal is absolutely aggravated after last weekend's match. You got to feel for the Thursdayites. I'm sure this is not how they wanted to finish off their season, but the season must go on. Royal College versus those Thurston this Saturday. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, well, it's going to be one-way traffic, I'm afraid. With all due respect, I think Royal will be smarting and aching, and they'll take out all their frustration on Thurston. They'll probably show next to no mercy, and they'll just want to make a statement. So it's going to be one-way traffic. I just hope Thurston, just fire a few shots and just throw caution to the wind and see if they can score a few tries. I don't think anyone is expecting any sort of upset. Even talking in that tone is probably going to make this whole thing sound silly. So yeah, Royal will look to pulverize them. They'll just want to beat them to next to naught or next to zero. And it's probably the perfect tonic after that bruising. More ego than anything else. More ego and their pride bruising. Lost to St. Peter's. So this is perfect tonic. It's like, after you have a really tough workout and next day you wake up and you're really sore. So this is the version of getting some of that deep heat or Vintagino and rubbing it on your biceps or chest, whatever. And you're getting that good feeling where it's just kind of giving you that warmth. So that's what Royal will want to feel after this game against Thurston.
Couldn't have phrased it any better myself. Another match, we have the final match happening this Saturday. Two teams who I'm sure would want to forget this past season. I'm not sure this is how they wanted the season to turn out, especially Zahira College, who is celebrating their 100th year of rugby at college. They will be facing college that started it all, started Sri Lanka schools rugby, Kingswood College. What do you think these teams can do to make sure that their respective teams finish off on a high note?
Just empty the tank, leave everything you have on the field. This is probably going to be the last 70 minutes you're going to play for, at least for a little while. So just empty the tank. Don't leave any regrets or, we should have done this. Just go out there, give it your best shot. And, obviously Kings would have been on struggle street through and through. Zahira, they're doing okay, but probably not where they wanted to be. They would have wanted to be a lot more competitive. So I think for both these teams, just give it everything you have, leave everything out on the field, empty the tank, and just give both sets of supporters something to cheer about. I think they'll remember that last game. There's a good old saying in rugby and in life, it's not how you start, it's how you finish and where you end. So hopefully it's going to be a memorable game for both these teams.
Yeah, before I hand it over to Tehran to continue with the matches and finish off today's show, we have a few questions on our Facebook Live. Shakit Madhaval is asking a question that I really want to know the answer to as well. Any predictions on who will join Isipatana College for the next round? I think we have three probable options. We have St. Thomas's College Mount Lavinia, Trinity College Kandy, and Isipatana College Colombo. Who is going to be your pick to join Isipatana in the second round of the all-important Dialogue Schools Rugby League?
I knew someone would ask me this question. So right now, based on form and form alone, based on what I've seen, I think it's most likely going to be Isipatana and St. Thomas's. Okay, but that second slot, as far as St. Thomas's are concerned, I think Trinity will have a big say here as well. So, 𝐸𝐸𝐵𝐴𝐻 obviously the top pick. Second pick, with just a slight advantage, I personally think it's going to be St. Thomas's. But then all the Trinity fans are going, what's this guy on about? No, Trinity's going to make it. So I guess we'll wait and see. But like I said, right now, based on the form line, that's how I see things happening. Who knows, this weekend it might all go topsy-turvy and then Trinity might come and put, 40, 50 points on the board and go, I told you so. But yeah, it's probably those three teams. More than likely is what's going to happen. So there you go.
Okay, so you're going to find out this weekend. So I'm sure everyone is waiting for Saturday and Sunday to find out what happens. I want Trinity to go through. I'm sure a lot of Trinitans out there want it as much as I do, because we've had a dry spell for quite some time now and we are hungry for it. But next question, Harusha Manet is asking. We asked about the forwards, 𝐸𝐸𝐵𝐴𝐻 College and St. Peter's. Now it's about the line, it's about the backs. 𝐸𝐸𝐵𝐴𝐻 College backs versus the St. Peter's College backs. Who do you think has the edge on the other?
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to go with the 𝐸𝐸𝐵𝐴𝐻, the back division, no question about it, purely because they have some very skilled ball players, and of course their main game driver, the key driver, is their first five, 𝗁𝐿𝐴, So I think his best is yet to come. That's just how I feel, and he's starting to just hit those straps. And if you look at what he does a lot of basic stuff really, really well. It looks really fancy and flash. But if you really slow it down and break it down, it is it does basics really well. So for me, I think it has to be the Patana back division with a slight edge. And of course, looking at what 𝐸𝐸𝐵𝐴𝐻 forwards are doing, I think they're getting better as every week goes by as well, because I'm starting to see a lot of very direct, hard carries through the middle. So all in all, good signs for the Green Machine. And this year, and I have to say, it's sort of been a little bit quiet, particularly the fans online, probably after what happened last year. So who knows? Maybe this year is the Green Machine's year.
Follow-up question on this that I would really want to know the answer is, now we know that the St. Peter's line, especially the three players, Pasithu Bandara, 𝐻𝐸𝐵𝐴𝐻 Chihara, Vishenka Silva, they have the three of them to support each other. They're communicating well on the field and they're making sure that they convert that into tries and scores. But on the other hand, 𝐸𝐸𝐵𝐴𝐻 College only has Shahid Zumri. If you notice the matches, it's Shahid Zumri, star player. But Peters, they have three players who are willing to sacrifice their moment in the limelight so that someone else can go and score the tries. How do you think this is going to play out in the coming weeks?
Sorry, let me just correct myself a little bit. I think I misheard your question before. I thought it was 𝐸𝐸𝐵𝐴𝐻 versus St. Thomas's. But I think the question you asked was 𝐸𝐸𝐵𝐴𝐻 versus St. Peter's, right? Yeah. So yeah, no question. I think St. Peter's backs as a unit, the way they attack, they're miles ahead. Yeah, you're right. I think they play really well as a unit, and just that back three. Every time you kick against that back three, you have to make sure you put it deep into the stands, or you look for grass. By grass, I mean you grubber it nice and hard so that you don't kick straight down their throat. And that's what Royal did wrong. They kicked straight down their throat. The rest was history. So against St. Peter's, you gotta try and move. You gotta shift the back three. Don't give them easy ball. And better yet, don't give them any ball. That's what it comes down to. So yeah, no question. I think as far as overall backs, St. Peter's miles ahead of 𝐸𝐸𝐵𝐴𝐻. They play a lot better as a unit. And just to clarify, I apologize to the audience. I misheard the question. I thought it was 𝐸𝐸𝐵𝐴𝐻 and St. Thomas's. But as far as 𝐸𝐸𝐵𝐴𝐻 and St. Peter's right now in the current form line, no question. As a unit, the St. Peter's side, few levels above almost everybody.
Okay, so that's it from me for the moment. So Ran, over to you to continue with the other four matches that will be played this weekend. And of course, to ask the all-important set of questions, putting Boa Athu on the spot. Boa Athu's picks for the final week of the Dialogue Schools Rugby League. Tehran, over to you, buddy.
Thanks, Majan. Thank you, buddy. Thanks, Sherwin. See you next week, Sherwin. And, well, Boa, time to speak about the upcoming matches from my end. We have on August 3rd, that's a Saturday, at 𝐕𝐵𝐴, 𝗔𝐿 College and St. Anthony's College. Both teams had a rocky start, a really bad start from this season. What do you think the outcome would be? I know 𝗔𝐿 College are trying to get back. I think they have something in mind for St. Anthony's, but St. Anthony's, I have, in my personal point of view, I have not seen any improvement. But what do you think, Boa?
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and yeah, I think Summa will fire a few shots, but just the experience factor, St. Anthony's should pull through. I'm predicting St. Anthony's by 12 points or lesser. And before we go any further, I have to say, last week, strike rate took a little bit of hit because obviously got the prediction around the St. Peter's Royal game all horribly wrong. But hey, that's just how it is. I did run some numbers. We were sitting around about 89 to 91% on a predictor strike rate, which, it's just pretty good. It's just that from time to time I get a few trolls, and I can see one of them is on the chat at the moment, talking about form lines and predictions. Yeah, look, I'll try and get you the lotto numbers for next week, and when I do get you the first division, maybe you'll change your mind. That's just how it is, for as an analyst, I always make my predictions publicly. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong. But more often than not, we try and, so we call a strike rate. That's a statistical term we use. The term we use in stats is what we call a confidence interval. So I'm not going to get into all that. But as far as Summa St. Anthony's, I think St. Anthony's by 12 points or lesser.
Well, let's see if predictions come right, Boa. As I believe you remember, we have the hot seat where you put in a dangerous situation right there. So let's just keep that for last. Right now, so 𝗔𝐿 College is at 𝐕𝐵𝐴, 3rd of August. That's a Saturday. Let's wait and see what it turns out to be. I believe both teams will be firing at both corners, Boa. It'll be a nice match to see, an epic game. I just want to give a mention again to all our viewers. If you all have any questions, please drop in at the comment section or directly message Boa Athu if you all feel like. I'm sure Boa will be able to see the Facebook comments as well as the YouTube ones. I will get to know from who is in the background, such as Shamathil, who is on the call. So please do. Any questions, please drop in. Next game, the first game on Sunday, 4th of August, we have 𝐸𝐶 College taking on St. Thomas's at Havelock Park. Over to you, Boa.
Yeah, it's a crunch game, isn't it? I think this will be probably the most looked forward to game of the round. 𝐸𝐶 at Havelock Park, obviously it's their perennial home, and they're building up quite nicely. But on the other hand, St. Thomas is building up really well as well. I think this is going to be a very, very, very close game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Both teams will fire shots. Hopefully the weather stays well. It's going to be a nice sunny day where the surface is fast and firm. I think we're going to be in for a bit of a tri-fest, hopefully. But the way things are, the edge is with the green machine. They will have a few anxious moments because I still feel 𝐸𝐶, particularly around the forward pack in defense, a little bit vulnerable. But it's just that once they get that back division, particularly Zumri, into the game, I just feel that St. Thomas's are the right type of opponent for 𝐸𝐶 to play that game, because I always believe styles make really good matchups. So it's going to be a little bit like it's like playing possum. St. Thomas's will just want to play possum, bite their time, and then wait for the opportunity. Whereas 𝐸𝐶, they'll want to go one pass every second and attack. And if they get it right, the floodgates will open. But at the same time, St. Thomas's, they've like I said, they've been putting some really good form together. But as things are, yeah, you got to go with this Patana, Green Machine.
Wonderful, beautiful, Boa. Yeah, best of luck to Patana and St. Thomas's at Havelock Park on 4th of August, as well as the previous mentioned games by Sherwin. Best of luck to all the teams that were mentioned. And let's move on for the next game at 𝐶𝐴 Stadium. Science College taking on DS, the Dons Rugby. The events, the results of this game are quite unpredictable, I believe, because I don't know whether Science will want to remain the same after last week's game against Trin. I believe they'll have some, like Royal College trying to patch up all their the injuries and the wounds that they have been gotten. Let's just hope for the best. Boa, I want to hear your thoughts on this one especially. Do you think Science can come back after that game? Do you think they have one more shot, or do you think Dons Rugby will just send them off from there?
Again, just look at the form line. I think DS warmed up with a tremendous win this weekend. So I think they'll be carrying that form line. And Science, perfect opponent because it's similar style. They'll kind of complement each other. Look, the thing with Science College is if they get it right, and that's a big if at the moment. It's a big if. They get a bit of confidence, very difficult to stop. But this DS side, they've learned a lot, and I think they'll get their forwards into this game. We've seen what they can do with their driving maul on occasion. So I'm anticipating they'll bring that as a weapon of choice to negate some of that out-wide counter-attacking pace from Science. And I think DS will play it smart. So on the balance of everything, I think this should be a relatively straightforward result, and I can see DS winning.
Okay. Final game on the 4th of August at 𝐷𝐴𝐴. The Vidyartha Tigers taking on the defending champs, St. Peter's College. Boa, what are your thoughts? I know Vidyartha had a bit of a rough game last week against Wesley. Kind of an emotional state right now. Hope they can come back to it. St. Peter's, on the other hand, making a massive victory against the Tuskers at Jurassic Park itself. Your thoughts on that, Boa?
Well, white hot favorite St. Peter's. I think you'd be incredibly silly to bet against St. Peter's. The only factor here is that, and I'm not trying to be sentimental, it's just that 𝐷𝐴𝐴, and it's been it was a big game for St. Peter's, and it's sort of faded out the last 9 to 10 minutes. So that's a bit of a concern. But they're a classy side, and this is a new game. It's a new weekend, so it's extremely unlikely. It's going to be nothing short of a miracle if Vidyartha can pull off an upset against St. Peter's. But on paper, like I said, form line clearly, I think St. Peter's should get home relatively easy. But it's just that that last quarter in the second half, they just need to be wary of. And the Tigers, they're a dangerous side if they put some phases together because they've got some very skilled backs, particularly on Guy and Pereira. And they'll be wanting to prove a point after losing to the Double Blues this weekend. So it's going to be an interesting game. There will be some anxious moments, but, I can't see anyone beating the St. Peter's side. And certainly on the current form line, not Vidyartha.
All right, Boa. All right. Let's see how it turns out next week. Let me just remind everyone the lineup for next week's schedule. We have on 3rd of August, Saturday, Trinity College taking on Dharmaraja College at Pallakele. Shismangala versus St. Anthony's at 𝐷𝐴𝐴. St. Joseph's taking on Wesley at Havelock Park. Thurston taking on the Tuskers Royal College at 𝐶𝐴 Stadium. That's all for Saturday, 3rd of August. And on Sunday, I forgot to mention, Kingswood College taking on Zahira at Bogamburra. My apologies. And then Sunday, 4th of August, we have Patana taking on St. Thomas's at Havelock Park. The Science College taking on DS at 𝐶𝐴. And finally, Vidyartha taking on the defending champs, St. Peter's at 𝐷𝐴𝐴. And just want to remind everyone, for any questions or doubts, please drop the text or whatever paragraphs you want to ask from Boa on the comment section at our Facebook Live or on the YouTube live stream. And hope for the best that Boa will answer them for y'all. And let's move on for the hot seat segment. Boa, are you ready? This is the moment where you predict the outcomes and the results of next week's matches. The final week before the Super Round turns up for the Dialogue Schools Rugby League. Boa, are you ready?
Certainly am. Let's get it on.
Let's start. All right, Boa, here we go. Trinity College versus Dharmaraja College. Who do you think?
Trinity by less than 13 points.
Here we go. Sri Sumangala College versus St. Anthony's.
St. Anthony's by 12 points or less.
St. Joseph's College taking on Wesley College.
I'm going to go with St. Joseph's by 3 points or less. Very close affair. Every chance Wesley could upset, but I just feel that St. Joseph's is trying to build a really solid form line, particularly around the forwards. So it's going to be a close affair. St. Joseph's 3 points or lesser.
Indeed, yeah. Let's hope, because I was going to mention St. Joseph's with their fall pack was impressive. They have an impressive fall back. As long as last week's games, Ivano White took it to a new other level once 𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐺𝐻 left the ground. So let's hope the Joes Falls can do a better game against Wesley. But I feel that Wesley College, their fullback Abdul Hadi, have a second shot for scoreboard pressure. I feel that this is all going to come back to an epic battle against two Titans for the Super Round. I'm getting distracted. Let's move on. Thurston College taking on Royal at Sugadasa.
I'm not going to put a points differential. I think Royal by, take your pick. It's going to be Royal by plenty.
But by the way, not offending Thurston College, let's just see what y'all can do. Let's try to surprise Boa. Try and surprise us and surprise Boa that y'all can do what it takes, even though being new to Division A rugby. All right, Boa.
Yeah, give it your best
Kingswood.
shot.
Exactly. Kingswood College taking on Zahira College at Bogambara.
Yeah, I'd be going with Zaira, less than 12 points.
Next up, Isipatana College versus St. Thomas's College.
Ooh, it's a cracking game.
Another
I
cracking game.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a similar situation as the DS Green Machine game. It's going to be a bit of a hard stopper. But in the end, the way I see it, I think Green Machine Isipatana to win by 8 points or lesser.
Another nail-biting game from Boa Zen, ladies and gentlemen. Do not miss those matches. Very crucial. And next up, Boa Science College taking on DSNI College.
Yeah, have to go with DS. I think DS by 10 points. Maybe slightly more, maybe 13 points or lesser. DS to win.
And finally, Boa, the Vidyartha Tigers taking on defending champs St. Peter's at Nittavalla.
Yeah, look, again, interesting game. St. Peter's will win. I think there's I'm 95% certain.
No questions asked, no doubt about it.
Yeah, it really comes down to the margin. One or two things can happen. Things could be really tight. If that's the case, I think St. Peter's will get home by, 10, maybe 12 points or lesser. But if the floodgates open, I think St. Peter's will run away with 20 plus points. So there's two sides to it. One of the main criteria is obviously the weather, because we know how muddy Nittavalla can become. But at the same time, this St. Peter's side, they just don't care. Even if it's an absolute marshy bogland, they'll just want to run from everywhere. So that's the way I see it going. More than likely, I think St. Peter's will want to finish on a high. So it's going to be somewhere between that 10 to 20 points. But Vidyartha will want to fire a few shots of their own. So
yeah, indeed. I mean, yeah, exactly. Because after that last week's game, Wesley College, I believe they will want to have a bit of a ego testament with St. Peter's. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The predictions from our very own statspert, Mr. Boa Athu, all the way from New Zealand, on next week's games before we head on to the Super Round of this Dialogue Schools Rugby League. And that's the end, basically, of the hot seat segment. Before we end the show, I just want to thank our sponsors as well as Dialogue and the 𝗊𝐴.com for allowing us to use the highlight videos in order to make this show a success. So thank you very much, guys. And before we end the show, Boa, any final few thoughts you want to wish all the best for the teams for?
Yeah, last week of the season proper or regular before the Super Round. So just enjoy the moment, have great memories. And to the fans, be respectful of one another. And I know emotions can sometimes run a little bit high, but just enjoy it. These are school boys. Make sure you cheer the opposition as well. It's really important. Something I always encourage fans of the sport, because rugby is an amazing it's an amazing experience which connects people together. So enjoy it. And as far as the players go, empty the tank, leave everything on the field, and let's look forward to an outstanding round of rugby union in the schools league.
Beautiful. Thanks a lot, bro. Great to have you back on the show. Be it obvious, of course, our statspert all the way from New Zealand. We'll see you next week, Boa, at the next Rugby Show live. And this is me, 𝗤𝐴𝐴𝐵𝐴𝐴𝐵 from team called Quadrangle, signing off. Best of luck to all the teams. Take care, guys.
Hey, have you heard about Z?
Z. We KYC.
Easy.
Mobile banking. Crazy.
Education loans and salary advances.
Amazing. Introducing the Digital Youth Account. NDBZ. NDBZ from NDB Bank. The future is banking on us.
Creamy richness redefined. Smooth, soft, spreadable. Introducing Ultra Soft 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 with canola and sunflower oil.
We search the world for the finest things for you. Things like sun-kissed European berries, rich chocolate from the world's best cocoa fields, and crisp cashews and fluffy marshmallows in a quirky Australian recipe.
𝐊𝐴𝐴𝐺, experience the world.
හැමදේම අතළඟ තියෙද්දි දුක් විඳින්නේ ඇයි?